Hey, good morning, guys. Beautiful Tuesday morning. It's been an exciting 24 hours. Um, like I've mentioned several times, we got graduation week and just craziness with all the kids getting out of school. Had a really cool party for my girl Ellie, who's graduating last night. Super thankful for all the friends and family that supported. Um, so, Tuesdays are my busy day for whatever reason. There's about 12 trustees that hold auctions in Arizona. And out of those 12 trustees, the number one that probably has the most volume, that probably, I couldn't say probably sells the most properties, but more than likely holds the most properties and tries to sell the most properties. Anyways, they have auctions on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so there is so many properties scheduled to go on Tuesdays and Thursdays. A lot of them postpone and cancel. That's just the normal thing about trustee sales. It just happens. So if you're looking to buy properties at trustee sale and buy properties at auction with me, get used to properties postponing and canceling. It's just the name of the game. So I like to compare it to just throwing a lot of mud at the wall. And what happens when you throw mud at the wall? Sometimes it's going to stick, sometimes it's not, right? And so you've got to get used to when you're in the world of auctions, just bidding on a lot of properties to get one. And so you're just looking for that one good deal, right? And so when you're buying these properties at auction and you're looking for that one good deal, sometimes, unfortunately, you can't pick and choose if they're going to be occupied or vacant. Of course, you want to buy something vacant because you don't have to deal with the people that are in there and kick them out. And that can get costly. I bought a property within the last year that it took 4 months to get this gentleman out. And it took 4 months because he was an elderly gentleman, didn't have any family around. He did have kids in town, but unfortunately his kids just didn't seem to care for him much, which is super sad, right? And so we just did our best to find him a new place and get him out of the house. And so, you kind of work through these different hoops. So when you're buying a property at auction, this is what I suggest. You buy it at auction, it's occupied. You got to go knock on the door and have that awkward conversation. And when they answer the door, they're gonna say one of two things. They're gonna either know that it went to auction, that it sold, that something's going on, and they're gonna have boxes in the corner stacked up, and they're already getting to leave, right? They're getting ready to leave. That's number one. And number two is they're gonna be in denial and just probably straight up either lie or just don't know that it went to auction and that there's issues. And so I have a hard time believing that's gonna happen, because if you have a mortgage and it's going to auction, you're going to get notices from the bank. You haven't been making your mortgage payment. You know what's going on. And so, or they could be a renter and the owner could be collecting rent on the house and not even notify them. But typically if they're in the physical house, the bank still will put something on the house. And so you got to just knock on the door and have that conversation. So I had, a client buy a house at auction this week. Today's Tuesday, so it was actually at the end of last week. And they show up and they knock on the door, right? And so they're knocking on the door and it's occupied. And basically what happened was this client asked me an interesting question. I wanted to go over that question. It's called cash for keys. And so a lot of these clients, if they can get out on a timeline, investors will say, hey, we'll give you X amount of money to get out this date. So in this situation, they were going to give them 20 days to get out and give them $5,000 if they get out peacefully. So I think that's just that's just too much money to give someone to move out of the house, right? So I'm actually not a big cash for keys guy. Like if I'm going to spend money to get this person out of the house, I'd rather give that money to the attorney than just evict them the legal way. So I actually personally have never done cash for keys, but there's a lot of investors that swear by it. I just don't do that. If I'm going to spend money to get them out, I'm going to hire an attorney. I'm going to evict them. Excuse me. It's actually reversed. This scenario was the people were going to pay the now new owner who bought it at auction $5,000 to be there for the next 20 days. And so if they don't have money and they lost their house, I have a hard time believing that they're going to have $5,000 to rent the house for the next 20 days. It's most likely not going to happen. So I switched the table. I said, how about maybe you tell them that you will give them $2,000 if they get out in 20 days. And if they don't get out on that 21st day, then they lose that $2,000. Or since they're really willing to give $5,000, which I have a hard time believing that they're going to give $5,000. I just do, to rent the house for the next 20 days. See if they will give you $2,000 up front to be there for 20 days. And if they're out on the 21st day, give them back their $2,000. If they're not, keep the $2,000. So there's all these different scenarios that you can work with these homeowners. I personally just show up, knock, and say, hey, I've got different plans for the house. We need you to leave. And if I feel like they're not going to get out in a timely, like within days, I call the attorney and start working on the eviction and just let him handle it. So if you are a cash for keys person, there's so many different scenarios you can run through and do. And I'm happy, just bounce those off me. Send me an email, text, and just say, hey, what do you think about this? And anyways, I hope that helps with the foreclosure stuff. And if you're looking to buy a house at foreclosure, reach out to me. I would be happy to help you. And guys, I know I've said this a few times. I actually do just have a few more seats left to the foreclosurefreedom.co event. And we would love to have you at the foreclosurefreedom.co event. And we just have a few seats. So it's still over 2 weeks away, and I'm going to probably have to cut it off because the response has been good, and I'm thankful for you guys that have signed up. And if you're considering it, let me know if you have any questions. So anyways, you guys have a great day, and we will be talking to you soon.